going on, Jerome's? So, yes, you do have to respect what the Detroit Lions have done so far this season. They're 10-1, tied for the best record in the National Football League. They're currently on a 9-game winning streak, and they look phenomenal. They look like an absolute juggernaut. And, hey, so they beat the Texans, beat the Jaguars, beat the Colts, beat the Packers, beat the Titans. I feel like we've done that. But, of course, style points matter. Plus, I can't admit it, but I love me some Dan Campbell. Just like you're all fired up and got huge dipping. Also, have you ever seen his coffee order? So it's like 3 extremely large gallons of coffee with like 1,000 milligrams of caffeine. It's probably about it, right? And yeah, you feel good for Lions fans because this was literally like 2 years ago. But will the roar be restored, or will they just fizzle out in the playoffs? Who really knows? But of course, Lions, Vikings, week 7, that still sticks in my craw, right? Where the Vikings, if the defense didn't implode in the second quarter, and if the Vikings can just freaking get one first down at the end of the game, it's a completely different narrative. Like, the Vikings are literally an Addison running the right route and Jefferson catching that 3rd and 4, or the Vikings having the intestinal fortitude to go for it on 4th and 4, and that close to being 10-1, best record in the National Football League, driver's seat in the NFC North and the NFC writ large. But what was it meant to be? But even though the Vikings are slightly trailing the 10-1 Lions, and the Lions do have a game up in the head-to-head, but of course they meet again in Week 18, January 5th. Mark it on your calendars. It's almost the famous day. Yeah, but the Vikings still 9-2, and yeah, the Vikings have a bit of a tough road to hoe the rest of the way. Cardinals, kind of good. Falcons, coming out by, kind of good. Bears, we'll see them again at home. Seahawks, you don't know. And then, of course, the Packers and the Lions. But got Week 18 circled because as much as the media want to kiss the Lions' ass, they're fallible, right? And I know that they just want to hype up that 2-point blowout of the Vikings Week 7, but I'm buying it. I want another piece of that Honolulu Blue team, and also I kind of want a piece in the playoffs. All right, but where will that game take place? But long story longer, so ESPN's Dan Graziano put together a piece judging biggest overreactions for NFL Week 12 games, and one of them is the Vikings-Lions game in Week 18 will decide the number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs, and spoiler, overreaction. So basically saying that Week 18 won't matter for Vikings and Lions for the division and or the 1 seed. So it comes down to. This is what Dan wrote. The Lions won again Sunday, though the 24 points they put up with the Colts in Indianapolis felt a little bit pedestrian compared to some of their recent offensive performances. They've won 9 in a row, sit at 10-1 for the season, and look like the best team in the league. The Vikings, however, are right behind them at 9-2. I'll be 2 steps behind. Having blown an 11-point fourth quarter lead to Bears before escaping with it overtime. Went, oh, you can't just say that the Vikings won? How did ESPN cover the Packers winning 20-19 over the Bears by the Bears, Cairo Santos getting a field goal block? How'd they cover that? Stunning and brave. Oh, yes. The greasy, grimy Green Bay Packers get a much-needed win on the road against a divisional rival. Vikings win broke ass. But that's how it goes. The Vikings visit Detroit in the final week of the regular season. Let's say Detroit, man, this is Super Bowl. And if they're still only 1 game apart at that point, the matchup could very well be for the division title or more. These teams already met Week 7, and it was a thriller, with the Vikings scoring 12 straight points in the fourth quarter to take a 29-28 lead, only lose on a Jake Bates field goal with 15 seconds left. Just the tone of this writing. Like, Graziano is in the bag against the Vikings. Like, it's much better reading in the Cartman voice. Having blown the 11-point fourth quarter lead to the Bears before escaping with the overtime win. Only to lose on Jake Bates field goal 15 seconds left. Bam. But it would have been even epic. Hey, O'Connell should have let Reichard kick it from 70. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. So, Graziano calls it overreaction as a coffin die. Only 3 Lions' 9 wins in their current streak have been by fewer than 10 points. Oh, that's cool, because I didn't know the point differential will matter in the tiebreaker. And 3, actually, I think it does, but it's like the 19th tiebreaker or something. And 3 of them have been by more than 37. Oh, cool. Ach, de Lieber. Oh, no. You're saying that, oh, no, they beat the Jaguars 52-6. They beat the Titans 52-14. They beat down a very bad at the time Cowboys team 47-9. Oh, loaded. Whatever shall we do? Let's not forget about the Packers The Vikings are playing well, but the Lions are on a different level from them or anyone else in the league. Let's not forget about the Packers. Let's not forget about the Packers. The Packers, they got to beat the 49ers practice squad because Brock Purdy and Nick Bosa didn't play. But, loaded, let's not forget about the Packers. The Packers who just barely beat the Bears, by the way. Whatever. They just beat the 49ers to get to 8-3. You say that like it's a feather in your cap. Hey, it's better beating the Niners when they're pretty much full strength like the Vikings did week 2. Same goes for the Eagles, who are 8-2 heading to Sunday night's game against the Rams, which is on right now. Either or both these teams could still mess things up for the two teams at the top of the NFC North, especially since the Packers still have games to play at Minnesota and Detroit. But doesn't Dan know that the Vikings have a leg up in the heads up against the Packers? Same thing with the Lions. It sure would be cool if the Lions and Packers, Vikings, and let's try that again. It sure would be cool if the Lions and Vikings kept winning and that Week 18 game ended up being for the division. But the Lions have a head-to-head win in hand and haven't lost a division game yet so far. So they hold the second tiebreaker too. They played 2 division games. The Vikings play 3. They're 2-1. And frankly, their lead just feels more significant than a single game. I have the Vikings as more likely than the Lions to slip up somewhere along the way to Week 18. If they do, that's about all Detroit would need to make this academic. Academic, like you ever went to school. Anyways, but Dan Campbell, respect. But the Lions the rest of the way. Now, we've analyzed this thing to death. I mean, nothing really scares you, I guess. I mean, the Bills game, sure, but you're also at home. I mean, the Bears have shown some fight over the last couple of games. Do they win one for the Gipper against the Lions? It'd be kind of nice. Packers obviously have some. Hey, I was told that the Packers are good. So basically, if the Vikings win out, they need the Lions to slip up one time because the Lions would have the tiebreaker in, I believe it was common games or something like that. But the Vikings, just take care of business, right? Cardinals, Falcons, Bears, oh my, all at home. All right, so can we extend this winning streak to 7? Can we get this thing to 12-2? And then you got Seattle on the road. And then you got the Packers at home, which you should be able to take care of business. And then we'll see if Week 18 matters, right? But just to completely write it off, that's a write-off. That's overreaction. It's ridiculous, man. But, of course, ESPN is the worldwide leader of viewers, and remember, this is the same ESPN that predicted the Vikings go 4-13 and have the number 1 overall pick. So I'm not mad. I don't hold grudges. I just have a long memory, and I don't forget or forgive, and I hold grudges. But other than that, anyways, your thoughts are thoughts. ESPN says that Week 18 won't matter for Vikings and Lions. Whatever. Let us know your thoughts, our thoughts, comment section. You guys know what to do. Skull, production value.